It is 6 o'clock, so I will now open the April 14th, 2014 meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission. This meeting is being recorded. Are there any public concerns, not agenda items?
I'll try to be quick. My name is Laura Baker. I am a volunteer chairperson of the site committee for the Hilltown Cooperative Charter Public School. I'm coming before you because we will be leasing a property at 1 Industrial Parkway in Easthampton beginning this September. School will be relocating from Haydenville to that site. It's currently being renovated. You may or may not remember, I think you came, Bill Crocker coming in relative to construction on the building. That's their end of it. Our responsibility is to develop any outdoor play areas that we might want. I had sent an email to the committee last Wednesday.
Okay. About interior versus exterior and keeping things moving?
Yes.
Okay.
And kind of laying out who we are, what we're going to be doing, and just really seeing what is the best first step for us in terms of, we'd love to get some kind of informal discussion before we jump into filing something.
Sure.
And so that's kind of why I'm here, just to find out what's the best format for that. Should I come back in 2 weeks? Can you meet with me for a site visit?
We could schedule a site
Hey.
we can schedule a site visit. There was a previous filing for the Gen Optic. No, not for the Gen Optic building, adjacent to the auto repair. I can't remember the full name of it, but just up the slope on O'Neill Street. So we do have plans in the commission's files somewhere that show some existing wetland resource area boundaries as they were delineated a few years ago. So that would probably be a good starting point to kind of inform you of what's there.
Okay, I've been through the files here.
Okay, that's
with,
a good start.
Keith Morris, who was doing a delineation for the for Crocker Building. We saw wetlands delineation. There's this kind of man-made riprap swale that comes down behind the building. Their wetlands were delineated on the side facing the auto repair place. We found no record of them being delineated on the side.
Sure, because it was for the auto repair property.
Right.
So
it doesn't answer our question as to what we need to do in the field.
Keith Morris should be able to complete the delineation as it pertains to your the property you're going to lease. That riprap channel, I don't know when that was riprapped, but there is an upgradient, Mark knows it, there's an upgradient wetland resource area, and out of that, and this land has been manipulated for agriculture and then the industrial park over time. But once the flow is jurisdictional, it remains jurisdictional. And so it flows out of a wetland through a culvert, through wetland and that riprap channel, and then somehow it gets from that channel, I think, I don't know, it somehow gets from that channel to somewhere else. Right. And so it's as it pertains to the former Gen Optic parcels, that's the question mark that we need to address for relative to permitting.
Some wetlands have been flagged just right adjacent to the building itself. They didn't go all through this kind of field area that's behind the building. So I guess that's my initial question is, do we know for sure that we need to get that delineated as part of our conversation with you?
I think just in keeping with the folks who are living here, that is, we can schedule a site visit and we can talk about scope.
That would be great.
Field work. So with that in mind, availability on we generally try to do things on Saturday mornings.
Okay.
This coming calendar, don't fail me now. So that'd be Saturday the 19th?
19th.
Okay.
It is the Easter weekend, just so people know, it's the beginning of school vacation, just throwing that out there.
Doesn't matter yet.
Yeah. I have no kids that I know of.
That'd be neat.
I can do Saturday morning as long as it's early.
Okay, so we could do Saturday morning,
I can't personally, but I could probably
but
get someone
someone
there.
could be there. Okay,
I can't. I'm not available
So-
until 9.
that's fine. So can we say 9:15?
Or is 9 too tight?
Well, it's
9:30?
8:15. I have an 8:15 appointment that goes till 8:45, so you don't mind me showing up.
Why don't, can we say 9:15, 9:30?
9. Let's say 9:30.
Let's say 9:30.
Okay.
Can you email, when you confirm on your end, email the commission's
Sure.
address and,
September 19th.
or April?
I'm sorry, April 19th. I've been calling you like,
wow.
We plan ahead.
Just as we feared.
Wow.
A long ways out here.
all morning I was doing January 14th today. So I don't know what my deal is.
Okay.
For
The
9:30 a.m. on,
Yeah.
on April 19th.
We've had a landscape architect working with us, so we have scans of materials.
Mm-hmm.
Should I just hold those until after we're on the site and we can talk and walk and look at them at the same
Yeah.
time, or would you like to get them early? Okay.
Well, I don't know.
Why don't
Are
we
any
just
of them
hold-
site plan?
Yeah.
Let's
but
hold
not-
off.
Let's, why don't we just get there
Yeah,
and-
because I think we really need to figure out. And do you know when the most recent wetland flagging has occurred there? Do you
There's
have
a-
those dates?
There's a little bit of flagging that occurred within the last 2 weeks. I'll just show you.
Because what is it? 3 years? Is it, after 3 years, they'd be reached?
General rule of thumb is
Oh, yeah,
3
yeah.
years, depending on whether or not there's an open order.
Yeah, you're going to be getting a request for determination from
Something was
Crawford.
emailed this morning.
I mean, I have a copy. I guess you guys
Oh,
don't.
okay. No.
It's right here,
Yeah, that was
actually.
emailed this morning.
And the question, yeah, came from Sherman and Frederick,
So,
which is,
it's a little hard to see on this tiny plan, but what they basically, this is the building,
Yeah.
this is the field area where we'd like to put playground.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
So they went in and they flagged this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To create these
Yeah.
buffer
Mhm.
zones. Someone else has flagged over here because this is the other
Yeah.
Right,
property
right,
owner.
and that's a little bit-
Nobody's done anything that I know of
Yeah.
Okay.
in here. And so that was the question we had, is did we need to continue this flagging activity?
So you need to define the extent of the buffer zone as it relates to the area where you're proposing work, outside of the walls of the building. So if you're hoping to put playground or make any improvements that alter the landscape
Yeah.
up there, then you need to define, the boundary of the wetland needs to be defined
All
so
around
that
it.
you can
Yeah.
extend, so that you can extend that buffer zone and quantify the work
impact
within the
of the buffer zone,
jurisdiction.
right.
Yep.
If we can do that prior to your site visit, would that make it easier?
It
Or does
wouldn't
not
hurt.
matter? Okay.
It wouldn't
The
hurt.
more
It-
information, the better.
Right. It would just help, and it would also help.
Get on
your-
that, because if it means you come a week later, but we have it delineated, doesn't that seem a little more efficient, or does it not matter?
Doesn't matter. I mean, it's
Okay.
not. It doesn't
It-
matter.
it's not a-
particular meeting.
Right.
Okay,
Right. So whatever you guys can work out, but depending on what's growing, what kind of resource, what type of wetland resource area it is, it might be easier to define with a little more growing season in, but it is, there's no snow on the ground and
Mm-hmm.
there's
Right.
persistent vegetation, so.
Right.
See what you can.
Okay. I will
It is.
confirm this Saturday meeting through the
Alright, so we'll call it tentative for now, and then you will
Yep.
confirm.
I will.
Excellent, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good night. So, item number, first public hearing, we are actually going to delay because it was advertised for 6:30, so we can't discuss the request for the request for amended
Okay.
order until 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
So next item, request for determination of applicability, Casper Frechette, 15 River Valley Way, construction of single-family home, garage and site grading within the 100-foot buffer zone.
Good evening.
Mark?
Alright, how are you?
I've got the,
See when you have a chance. You don't have to do it right now, but
Yep.
both of you.
Yeah, when you're done.
So I have,
I have a copy of what we're doing.
good, I got the certified mail to DEP that we
Right,
filed it.
thank you.
And I did 2 copies of the RDA
Oh, thank
filing
you.
for you all, but I see
Here you
you
go, I'll
printed
share.
out,
We
you printed out most everything. Yeah, which is great.
did.
Yeah. So I did a 11/17 of it.
Okay.
Dave Hardy, for the record, is here
Nice
tonight.
to
Who is
finally
going
meet
to-
you.
Yeah, he's David Hardy is going to build the house for them. They bought, their current house is located at lot 30. This is the common driveway off of River Valley Way, which comes down here. Okay, their house sits here. This is a vacant lot, which is lot 35, and they bought 29 that abuts it. So that they would like to build a single-family house, same style as, very similar to what else is going up in there on the lot.
How's that, 29?
That's lot 29 for that. So we have shown the original wetland delineation that was done for the treehouse project and previous to that. And the 50-foot buffer zone, no work line is the same as, and that's monumented as the original orders were. Nothing's changed in that. Same footprint for that. And Beacon had, you had issued a certificate of compliance just to, when they purchased it, to take it off the Beacon rolls and, and onto their
So it's
area.
kind of down
It's that open
here.
area, yep.
Okay.
Yes.
And what kind of do you need to do?
What kind of what?
Grading?
Very little, actually.
Because I don't see much proposed.
No, there's not. We have spot grades on it. What we did was we lended itself to a partial walkout basement, being the garage on the uphill side, so that the grading around here really fits the ground, and it's going to have a full basement. So we're able to design the house with very little site grading. There will be some site grading in front of the house so that you can have a a walkway and in the front, where you can see there's a spot grade of 186 versus the existing contour of 183. So we're going to fill it about 3 feet in that corner. But at the rear corner, we're just filling about 2 feet or so, just to, and to take advantage of a partial walkout. It won't be a full walkout, but kind of a half wall in the basement.
So these are existing shrubs?
Yes,
that are gonna come out?
they're going to be relocated. They planted them last year, and the pictures that, I have pictures
Say, I don't recall pictures of
that we did with the, for the certificate of
Okay.
compliance. I dropped them somewhere. And that's what a lot looks like. And that's kind of standing on the hillside of 38, looking down on it. And they're going to relocate it. The shrub row here can stay, but the trees and the shrubs in here will get relocated.
it. Within this property or on the other one that they own?
They
Some are
decided,
gonna stay there, some are gonna go to 13 River Valley Way, and I believe 2 of them are gonna go to, the other one is at 11,
yeah.
across the street.
Oh, across the street,
Right,
yeah.
2 of them have died, so,
What were they? Just out of curiosity.
I think they were pairs.
Mm.
Okay. And then you have a Silton and Strawberry Berry.
Correct, the same location, same as previously.
Is this going to be a
done
shared
for project.
driveway, or is this?
Yes, it's a shared driveway. It was part of the original application, and it is to serve these 3 lots.
Okay.
Right now, they don't have any plans to build on this vacant lot here.
Which is outside of buffer zone?
Yes, which is outside your buffer zone. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't wanna build on that, we'd like to build on
Yeah. Yeah, just to
You
make
like
it.
having
Yeah,
to
just
go
to
through
make
the
it.
process?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
We like coming in and seeing you.
So nice. All right,
That's right.
are there any questions from the commission?
think so.
Any
Pretty
questions,
straightforward.
comments, concerns from the planner? No? All right. All right, so.
Hey, how you doing?
Would anyone like to make a motion to suggest a determination? I think we should include our standard 48-hour notification to inspect the erosion sedimentation controls. Just
Fine.
call or an email and someone will make themselves available to go out there and just,
Yeah. Paul
Steve,
Trueheart's
what do
gonna
you-
take care of everything out there still.
I'm sorry?
Paul Trueheart will take care of
Okay.
everything out there still, so we'll,
Number 2,
If we have a condition, should we?
3, conditions.
in the same.
I'll make a motion that we issue a negative determination. Number 3, the work described in the request is within the buffer zone as defined in the regulations, but will not alter the area subject to protection under the act. Therefore, said work does not require a filing of a notice of intent, subject to the following conditions. And we're saying,
The applicant will contact the commission 48 hours prior to construction to get, so that we may inspect the erosion control measures.
I'll fill that in.
I will second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. So if you give us a few minutes, we can.
Okay, no, take your time.
Give you the original. You have to sign it, Chris.
So, there we go.
Yeah. And I don't have a backup. Go get the
There it
picture.
is.
There you go. Find your name.
you never do.
We'll take care of all that, so she
Rose,
Over an hour. Well, you just look at everything is great. But this, what that, what is this? You know, it's really take these traffic.
You did?
Yeah, 15 miles.
To where?
To the
I'm
house.
doing that. Oh, yeah. This is what we now do.
Because they got the speed bumps.
Be right back.
Yeah, it's amazing. 15 miles an hour. You kill that tree. And that's where all your construction trucks go down.
That's in box. That's a good process.
15.
Why?
Well, because they want the road shared by all people, the sidewalk. They want sidewalks and it's concrete, but everyone should sewer line, so the pedestrians feel safe walking in the roadway. So if that's going 15 miles an hour, then that's a good thing.
Some plans, but I'd say I don't know, yeah, physically where it is, very some of these stuff. Yeah, it's water.
That's it. Done deal.
Shaking my head.
Well, if one guy's open, uncover it, you can see it, don't patch it. It is, that is to the water line.
Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it.
You got 2 things on the agenda?
No, just one.
And did you both manage to sign in?
I believe so.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
Thank you
I'll
so
stick
much.
around and talk.
Have a good night.
Nice meeting you.
Good day.
Take care, thank you.
All right,
Thanks, Mark.
6:18, so you have to move on to.
Oh.
You weren't here for this meeting to approve minutes, right?
Was not.
No, so we can't even, yeah, we can't even do minutes. Okay. I know. Okay, things that we can do. So.
Bad children on the side.
Do I have to separate the two? So, I had inquired about a legal ad.
Yes, so the follow-up is that his administrative staff did not file it. She did not
Okay,
put it in the paper. So we're wondering if we can postpone to the 28th.
we have
and-
to.
Well, can we resubmit? The ad was never even submitted.
Right, no, you
Okay.
just
Yeah, so we can
publish.
just change it to the 28th. and
Yeah,
that's fine.
abs-
Okay.
You're talking
absolutely.
about item C?
Yes.
National Farm
Yeah,
Park?
so we won't even open the hearing because it wasn't
Right.
completely noted. But the abutter notifications went out?
Yes, as to my
Okay.
knowledge, yes. It was just the legal ad wasn't
Okay.
put into the paper.
So the notices don't specifically say the date and time?
No, generally speaking, they are vague enough to just say contact this number if you want to learn more about it. So,
Okay. So I'll let Jeff know and.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
6 p.m.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so let's go on to,
First order.
so I still need to, I need to finish those draft letters, which means I'll pull the files tonight and take them with me and see what the next items are.
So you're just gonna send, you're gonna send a letter to.
Mr. Collin, Mr. Collin.
To Mr. Gall. About what? Just about plantings or about an update?
Wherever
or-
we are, yeah, on compliance.
Okay.
So,
Makes no initiative.
fish
I
ladder,
haven't seen any activity. Jim could probably,
Oh.
fish ladder activity, is there anything?
Fish ladder, yes. Essentially, we're trying to, now that the river's calmed down, we're trying to get it operational. There's a couple of odds and ends, they got some minor stuff. They're gonna put some equipment in the cave. They got somebody to supply the equipment,
Okay.
video equipment, but there's no physical alteration of the site. They got a couple of odds and ends to do on the metal grading, reattaching some grading and things like that. But essentially, the site's done.
Good.
We got a shoestring course on how to operate a fish ladder.
I think I saw that the former mayor made a baffle.
It was like, yeah.
So,
So what's the schedule to get all the equipment in? Do you have an idea of when it's gonna be fully operational?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I met with them a couple of weeks ago, but they didn't really say. They didn't know yet.
Okay.
But I'm trying to get the thing working, at least getting the flow going into the right proportions for the spawning, which is going to happen anytime.
Soon, yeah.
So,
Okay.
Paul Street Extension, we signed off on building permits for 2 more lots last time round. I don't know if any work has
You go
started.
there this week.
Yep. So, but that's one with, when there's active construction, that's one with a weekly compliance report, summary report.
yeah.
There's another one like that too.
Mark Reed.
You have one like that.
Oh, the Glendale too, yeah, well I have a couple that she sent me
Okay.
right before I left, and nothing since then.
Forward them along, or,
I'll keep Neil.
okay.
Can, Paul Street, just to mention, there was the one house that is built there.
Mhm.
The current landowner has been trying to contact the
Oh,
commission.
there was a voicemail.
Okay, about trying to figure out what exactly he needs to do.
There was a call mid last week.
Okay.
That was the first contact.
Okay,
So,
all right.
I do
So
need
just
to-
remember,
Yep.
just to remember.
So thank you, I will,
Yep.
But what he needs to do,
to put it
Yeah,
down.
remember this was the one where they
yeah.
put the posts in for the deck,
The deck, yeah.
and it was not on the original plans, and we had a big discussion with the builder about dividing by what he said he was going to do. And so now here's the homeowner who, you know, really hasn't been part of this, and now is like, I want to build a deck, the pieces are in, what do I need to do to build a
Right.
deck?
Yep,
Mhm.
So,
forgot about that. Good.
Thank you. Okay. Easthampton Savings Bank?
Went there last week, kind of the same.
Okay.
There was still a snow pile last week, but the water's still in the pond, and that was
Bottom pond.
probably gonna stay there.
Pleasant Mills? Pleasant Street Mills?
I went there last Monday, and you were there the previous week, right, with Dan? Did you go there?
I hadn't been there in ages.
Was there an email going back and forth that you were gonna
There's
stop
a
by?
bunch of emails. Yeah, wasn't there about
You
having
were
a
gonna stop by
site?
after work or something?
Is this the area, is this the mill project? No, I'm sorry, wrong mill project.
No,
oh,
this
that's
is
plus-
15
Okay,
Cottage.
this is Cottage, okay.
Which we should actually add
Add
onto
to the
this
list.
list, so I'm gonna,
So I haven't been over on this Pleasant Street Mill area at all.
Jess can give us an update.
Yeah, why don't? Let us know, Jess.
Yeah, I went there Monday, and they were working on the trench
And they
across the
amended their
rail
order,
trail.
so-
Yeah.
Monday.
it's an active construction zone
Yeah.
with lots of activity.
They got the water main in that loops around the big concrete vault,
Okay.
and that's all been graded and seeded, and nothing's growing yet, but they got that restored within the silt fence area.
You know, all the silt fences are up, they're in the locations that you delineated in your NOI, so should.
Yeah, I was there a week ago, not today. Everything looked fine.
Okay. Glendale, Lodville, West Palmer Meadow. We need to get caught up on weekly compliance reports, and in 3 minutes, we can discuss the request for amended conditions. 15 Cottage Street, they're, thanks to the wonders of social media, social networking, saw that the entire rear, that a fair amount of work had occurred in the rear portion of the property. And that we had not received notification. So what we did, Dan Buttrick and I went out there, and while not to the letter of the plans that they had originally submitted and approved under the order, for the order of conditions, the site was being adequately managed at the time. Contacted Arch Street Development, who contacted their person at Michael Yu, I'm pronouncing that correctly, at Berkshire Design Group, said please provide an updated plan. Because this whole, although
It's all caved in on that
It's-
upper section.
yeah, even though this is outside of jurisdiction, it erodes and runs off into jurisdiction. And most of greatest concern was that there's a culvert
Yeah, goes right into the,
that is a direct
Right across,
discharge to the channelized stream here. So, they did have silt socks and other check dams, things like that, in place to prevent the migration of eroded material. And I asked for updated plans so that we had something on record.
okay.
Okay, so, thank you for,
So I did take some pictures last Monday.
how did it look?
Well, it's probably not since that last rainstorm, but that was kind of the section,
Mm-hmm,
so I don't know how well those are secured in there.
mm-hmm.
But there was a lot of soil moving down
Yeah,
the hill towards this,
yeah, that whole slope got,
towards that thing.
yeah,
kind of
and that's the sensitive.
That's the one we're trying to protect, yeah. So,
Yeah, so hopefully, I mean, they're
Can I see
The
that
use of
picture?
supplemental controls seems to suggest that they
That's the area
Are
that needs to get
at least
protected.
aware that
because
you
all
need
this
to
is
do
upstream, alongside the road is all this,
Oh, wow.
all these silt socks,
Mhm.
trying to prevent that from getting to that location.
Okay.
And there's some big erosion. You can see how much is moved, maybe out of jurisdiction, but that whole area was caving in
Mhm.
and heading downstream towards.
And how is it working? It looks like it's
Well,
working okay.
it was working okay. I haven't been there since the most recent rainstorm, that's
I've
all.
been working with them in the
Okay.
So,
So, Chris, for the minutes, can you make reference to, well, this email that we received, and then the name of this file is in the, it's listed out in the attachment with the date of the file. So it's email from Michael Yu from Berkshire Design Group on behalf of Arch Street Development with,
You.
mhm. Temporary erosion control plan at driveway construction, and then the date and the page reference.
On behalf of, did you say it's Berkshire?
Arch
Design
Street
Group?
Development.
Oh, it's Arch Street Development?
Berkshire Design Group is the consultant for Arch Street Development.
Okay. SK04. Erosion. Control. PDF, good.
All right.
And in this file, basically what, it summarizes the erosion control measures and,
It summarizes the modified erosion and sedimentation control measures in place presently. This order of conditions was issued at a time when this, what is now pretty standard weekly reporting requirements were not part of the standards. So
Okay.
they do not have a weekly documentation
are
requirement.
they grandfathered on that, or are they gonna
Oh,
start doing that?
no, we can't require it.
but do you want to add it to the list of updates that we talk about it?
Oh, yeah,
Compliance updates?
yeah, definitely, they will be updated.
Okay.
Okay, so it is
6:30.
after 6:30. We may now open the hearing for the request for amended order of conditions, Mass DEP file number 151271, City of Easthampton, Glendale, Loudville, West Pomeroy Meadow intersection and roadway reconstruction project.
I have the certificates of mailing.
Oh,
Want the
excellent.
Originals or the copy?
I'll
of
take
it?
the copy,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
Much cheaper than the other versions.
Mhm. That is for sure. Okay. So we went out there for tonight's meeting just to get a feel for what was proposed on the landscape. Jim Gracia was there, property owner Ron Lauren, Laurin, was there as well. So basically it's modified grading to provide access, maintenance access to the gas pipeline easement as requested by the gas
Well, they
pipeline
didn't
company.
specifically request it, but they weren't gonna allow us to modify the slope without coming to some compromise on how we could provide access to them.
Okay.
And this was basically, Ron saying that they're forcing this issue. This is basically my proposal to them to allow us to modify the slope going across the easement.
I see.
It does two purposes, or three purposes. It allows them access It allows us access to the storm drain outlet, easier access. And it also allows the property owner to get in and out of this field. No, he might have said that he would never use it, but I'm sure there may be times when he'll use it. Maybe it's just a pickup truck.
So, and then you talked about a broader area at the top that will the top area, will the whole top be
Well,
paved?
I want
or-
to pave this. Do we have the larger version?
Yeah.
I just want to pave a small landing at the top.
It's at Glendale, right? Right on the bridge.
Right at the bridge. I want to pave a landing area at the top. I can't really show it on here. It's shown on the cross section. But just a rectangular, flat area up there, so that someone coming out before they pull out into the street has, you know, a paved surface for traction. Otherwise, you spin the wheels and you're trying to get ahead of traffic. Ron has trouble on the opposite side of the road, and we'll create a little extra pavement there for him for traction to get out, because he comes out with his hay wagons, and you know, the floodplain on the maybe the north side of the road is much lower. It's 2 feet lower than on the south side of the road, so we can do some work on his sloped driveway without getting into the floodplain issues like on the south side.
And then the additional compensatory flood storage that this would trigger is?
It's at the house. The house has been torn down. I've extended the grading closer to Palmer Meadow Road, taking more out to be able to match what we're filling at this end at the increments that we need to. Fortunately, we've had some extra incremental flood storage created by the swale, and that's really the only thing that saved me on the bottom, because I couldn't get into a low enough elevation up at the house without digging a hole. So what we had extra in here, some of that I was able to use at the bottom. I wanted to make this ramp a little flatter, instead of 4-to-1 like I'm showing, 5-to-1. But I just created too much, I couldn't get
Pushed out
enough
and
storage,
Oh.
comp storage to make up for it. Just a little bit of extra pushing it down the hill, and I pushed the slope out a little bit. So I had to steepen it up to 4-to-1. And the slope from the ramp to the field level is at a 2-to-1 slope, which we can stabilize with vegetation.
So, am I just not seeing it, or is it not turned on in this view, the riverfront area?
It's not turned on yet,
Okay,
but it's
so
definitely,
it's total.
the whole thing is within the riverfront.
So in terms of, and Jay has the previous plans, what does this do to footprint of work in the riverfront area? How much does it increase?
Well, we were planning to do the road all the way to the bridge, but we weren't able to do the shoulders at the same
Right.
width of the same configuration, so that there's an
So
extension.
you're making this a little wider, riprap.
Well, the shoulders come out, but the slopes get steeper.
Okay.
So essentially, we're holding the bottom that was originally proposed by keeping a steeper slope.
Okay,
That's
so
why the
this is the
riprap
darker here.
continues.
So this is where it ended before?
Right.
Just
Yes, it ended
short
here.
of 215?
Yeah.
So-
From here, we blended back to the existing width of the road. So, you know, instead of 28, 29 feet of pavement, we've got 30 feet now. You know, I'm able to carry that, you know, that same width of pavement all the way down to the bridge. The 30 feet gives us 2 11-foot lanes, travel widths, plus 2 4-foot bike and pedestrian lanes, which is one of the mandates.
Can you, so one of the things that came up was that this needs to go to natural heritage, so we
Yeah,
still need
okay.
to, and if you go back into your paperwork and find out who the reviewer was,
Oh,
you might be
okay.
able to just email it to them.
Oh, good, okay.
And see,
I
and
do
touch
have
base
their
with them and
original
see if
letter.
that was, if that little be sufficient for them.
Okay.
And then I think and if it's here, I apologize for not.
Can't go to natural heritage because it's the
It's
endangered
in-
species.
yeah.
Yeah, the whole project is essentially within it.
I mean, as I recall, they didn't have any
No,
specific,
except for the turtles on the West Street side, that there was a, a stipulation about, but that's being handled by
there's the scientific.
DOT.
Okay.
One of their biologists
Okay.
should be coming out in the next week or so.
Yeah.
They came out prior to all the excavation on the
Mhm.
side of the slope.
Okay.
They'll do another run through in a couple of weeks, I think.
Okay. So then I guess the only thing that I would ask that you provide as supplemental information to what you've already provided is a quantification of additional work outside the footprint of what was originally
Okay.
approved in riverfront
We're
area.
talking about
Because we're gonna
square
have
footage
to,
or-
yeah, because in order to,
Okay.
to properly document it on the form, we need to show the difference,
Okay,
okay? So that
all right.
it's properly ledgered. So I guess with that, are there any other questions, comments?
Yeah, no concerns.
Jess, anything? No. So we're going to continue this to the April 28th meeting. You do not need to re-advertise anything.
Okay.
And we'll just, if you email it to Natural Heritage, if you could copy the Conservation Commission on that as well, that would be
Yeah,
great.
if that's fine with them, I'll mail it to them too if they need a hard copy, but if they'll accept it, that's good.
Okay. Can you pass that down to Jay? I don't want to throw it. It's so hefty. Okay. Thank you. It was definitely easier for me to see it before the meeting than
Agree.
Yeah.
talk about it in obscure terms.
My biggest fear was I was going to encroach on the trees on that, but they would keep the farm away, then
Yeah,
none of
that's
those,
Mhm.
you know.
It's a good idea. I mean, it's a good design. It's just, you know, whether or not.
That's what I'm gonna let you do.
Is it?
Yeah,
Just more fill?
yeah.
And you talked about, and I already pulled them up, you talked about a gate, some sort of a lock
Yeah.
gate at the top so that,
Signage,
and some sort of, yeah, or, yeah,
Oh, for the gate itself.
and like no trespassing or no parking or whatever, so.
Yeah.
Right,
that'll-
because one
that'll
of-
keep Ron happy too.
one of Ron's concerns was that this become
Yeah.
Parking
an
spot.
access point,
Mhm.
Yeah.
so.
It's gonna be pretty narrow to park.
Yeah, I'm not gonna leave them any room between the guardrail and the road.
Right,
And the gate will try to stay in line with the guardrail so that there's not.
That's a good idea.
It's
His
essentially a
cable on the other
continuation.
side is down a hill
Right.
enough where people can park there.
Right, and they might do that.
But,
But that'll ask
because
him
the
to go
slope
in
on
and
the other
unlock it
side is
safely.
not as steep, so we're not required to put guardrail on the other side.
what's a shorter?
It's a longer, flatter slope, it's 3-to-1 or
it's
something
a
like
different
that.
slope.
Mm.
Okay.
So we're not putting guardrail on across the street, which won't surprise me, but it's money too.
Yeah, so okay.
You're not gonna fight that?
Alright, so the two things are the quantity of riverfront area,
Yeah.
quantity of impact in the riverfront area, and you're gonna send it to Natural Heritage.
Yes.
Those are your two actions.
I'm laughing, we do so many certificates of mail that we actually have a log book, not individual slips.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I was just like, I thought those were cute.
Well, I was hoping they'd do something digital, but they just handed me a bunch of these. You can't track it either.
No, but you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have
That's,
to.
the whole point of that is that you only have to demonstrate that you sent it,
Yeah.
not that you made someone receive it.
Yeah.
That's out of your control, so.
Luckily, I've got a whole box full of these tiny little labels that work.
All right, so we'll see you on the 28th at 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down too, so I don't forget. 28.
Mhm.
And I'll try to.
Yeah, put 6 o'clock. Actually, put
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
Yeah, not 6:30.
All right, I don't want to keep you guys any longer than you have to be.
Alright, thanks, Jim.
Thanks,
Take
Jim.
it easy.
See you on site tomorrow morning,
Okay.
hopefully.
Yeah, somewhere down there.
Yeah.
You want me to stop here for?
No, because I'll go
You
straight
come
there
up,
after
okay.
dropping off daycare.
I'll probably, I'll go in back behind the Legion. and
That's
after
it, yeah, and then be down there somewhere. You'll see it. Pretty
All
much.
right. We'll leave it.
Bye.
Jim,
Bye.
have a good night. Okay, so,
2 more items.
and then I think we actually do have some substantial, huge
Correspondence?
substantial things to mention before the next meeting. Shared agent?
Nothing,
Nothing.
not time.
Any open space updates? None.
I had an idea today.
Does it involve a party? Because that will definitely help.
No, and this isn't necessarily having to do with the ADA section, but I'd like to talk to you about, since we know that stewardship is an issue,
Mhm.
we have baseline reports that we need to get done for Paul Street and Donay. And I'd like to try to put together an application to the CPA committee to request funding to hire a consultant to do those baseline reports. And I'm sure that there's more than just those 2 properties that probably need them, so I need to sort of, yeah. So what I think might make the most sense is, I have no idea what a baseline report will cost, whether it's 5,000, is basically what I'm guesstimating, even lower than that.
Well, it depends, I think it depends on the size of the property, because I'm thinking phase 1 environmental site assessments, which are, apples and oranges, but kind of
Right.
in the same ballpark,
Yeah.
those don't go for 5,000.
Less or more?
Less.
Less, okay.
And I can get ballpark estimates, but they're also, generally speaking, for more discrete parcels, so.
Well, and I can also, once I figure out what the parcels are, because I'm sure it's more than those 2, I think we should request money from the CPA
Mhm.
to hire somebody to do all the baseline inventories for all of the commission's properties. And CPA is looking for a match. Now, we do have that pot of conservation donation funds. Some of them have to be reserved for Glendale East and West, but there was another smaller pot that could be used for anything. So I don't know, I think it's all gonna depend on what a cost estimate would be to do the baseline inventory for all of the properties, but the commission should be willing to put in at least some level of match, and correct me if you, I mean, don't you
I
think that's?
absolutely
I
agree.
mean, you
Yeah.
have the money, it's, again, you don't have a huge amount of money, I think you've got,
But it's not being used. I
it's
mean,
not being used, and
this
this
is
is a
the
good
first step,
reason, right.
basically.
So I'd like to start moving forward on that,
Mhm.
if possible. I think we need to do it, and there's no reason to sit and wait on it. So I have a couple names of a couple of companies that could potentially do it, but again, I don't know enough about these different companies. So if you know of people that you want me to call and get a cost estimate, and we should try to put together a list of,
Who are can you provide the names of the ones
it
that
was
you?
Conservation Works, it was a
They're the
woman
ones who
under
did the work.
Conservation Works, I can't remember her name now, she's working for them now. She did all the PCT ones,
Okay.
and they liked her a lot, they thought she was great. So, but I think,
Question, sorry.
no, I think we need to move forward on that. And then sort of a second step is, I had an opportunity today to go out and hike with Garrett and John Bader on one of their properties and talk about connections to a city-owned property that doesn't currently have protection under it. And as part of that discussion, I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? What were we talking about?
Garrett, John Bader, Baseline.
Baseline was different.
Person from PC.
I know. So I put a picture of that, of the property up on Facebook, and somebody said, do we have any maps? And so this is something I think we need to develop, and I was on Amherst's website for something, and they have a whole conservation section that has the name of the property, where you access it, and then just a link, if they have a map, to a map of the parcel and access points. So that seems like a really easy way for us to model that,
That's great.
that system. And if we could if I could, talk to the IT department and see if we can get a conservation lands page on our website, so that would just house everything. We could even put just a PDF of the bigger map so that everybody can see how all the pieces connect. And then, I don't have time at this moment, but whether we can either find an intern, summer is coming up here in the next couple of months, so if there's, we could put out a call for an interested intern, somebody collegiate level, or even somebody from Westfield State, undergraduate, that'd be willing to put together, you know, like a one-page, almost like a fact sheet, like with a map, the name of the property, access points, you know, is it open to the public, can you bring dogs, you know, is there parking, that sort of thing. And then if somebody can put all those together, then we could put it up on a website. I'd like to see us try to get that done before the end of the
I'd be
year.
happy to
So,
see that happen.
those are the two things that I sort of
So,
thinking about today. Now, I know none of us have time to do any of these things, but, and the CPA application, I mean, honestly, I'm pretty straight out with construction projects, but they should be sort of tapering down a little bit towards the end of June, so it might be something I could work on in July, putting an application together.
okay.
So just for the minutes, just because I didn't get all that, there was just a lot of talking going on.
Because I ramble and.
So Jessica Helen's proposing a baseline survey of several other commission's properties
Yes.
to get CPA.
To request funds from the CPA committee to conduct baseline
Okay.
inventories.
With matching.
With matching
To get CPA money for this
Conservation
work,
fund.
commission will have to provide a financial match. The commission has money in their funds for this, in the project.
In a donation account. you
In a
can-
donation account,
In the
thank you.
in the conservation donation account.
In the conservation donation account. Thank you. Okay. All right, and you'll move forward contacting companies to begin the baseline study, is that
Sure.
right? And then the other, do I need to put anything, what was the other item that you,
It was just about, it's in the open space plan, is that
To
we
get a
have
page on
no,
the
we have
website?
no mapping
Yep.
of, you know, people have no idea where these properties are, how to access them, where to go.
yep,
Just
So-
people, us,
Yes.
to a certain extent.
Right. So, seeing if we can find an intern for the summer to help do some mapping,
So
fact sheets.
Westfield, you mentioned Westfield State. They have a regional planning.
They do, they have like a,
Do you know people there who?
I know some of the professors, one of the professors contacted me at the beginning of this semester looking for an intern, but then didn't need it, and said they might need something for the summer. So this might be a good project for a summer internship
Mhm.
program.
And I think it's the right scale, and I think it's the right technical.
And their
Could be the right technical
Their
level.
GIS based is a lot of what they're learning there. It's a GIS based degree.
It needs
so
to be. And, But does the city have GIS?
We do. We have all of our parcel data that we just received from.
Do we have the
Updated.
software to
No.
work with?
We do not. I mean, Jamie has a version on her computer that's old.
Our
I don't know which
Something?
version. Yeah, ARC something. It's not 2010. I don't know what it is. I can't remember.
Okay.
So we don't really have the capacity to do mapping here on our own.
Okay.
But I don't think it has to be that complicated either. It's just a matter of identifying the parcel and showing on a map where the access points are and where do you park.
Right,
It's not
and
like
then-
it's too complicated.
But it would be good to.
Do it by hand for that matter if we had to.
But it would be good to then be able to build upon that as time went on. You know, trails. If
Connecting.
someone could GIS locate GPS locate trails and
Mhm.
other features and or.
And Garrett does. I mean, he's got a GPS system that he uses. So,
so the action there is what you're gonna call the
I'm
Westfield
going to
State?
contact Westfield State and see if we can get a summer intern.
Okay,
Okay. We cannot approve the minutes because we don't have the right mix of people. Jerry did have a baby boy,
yay.
healthy baby boy, Ian
Congratulations,
Alexander, yay, congrats. So, other things. So we have a tentative site visit scheduled for Saturday the 19th.
Mhm.
Our next meeting is the 28th. We've already got 2 items on the agenda for the 28th, the continuation of the request for amended order of conditions. We have the notice of intent for the boardwalk,
Mhm.
the promenade. We also have a request for determination of applicability, which we received, oh dear God.
That's the one that got emailed to you today.
This got emailed.
Mhm.
Did I
Okay,
forward
yes, I saw
Okay.
that, so.
So we have it electronically in multiple places. So then this will go on the agenda.
What is it? Is it a new school?
It's the Hilltown Charter School. Jessica's gonna plug her ears. Jessica's not paying attention to this, good. So it's the Hilltown Charter School, which is going to occupy the former Gen Optic buildings at 1 Industrial Parkway.
Gen Optics?
Genoptik.
Is the O capitalized? No.
Good question. I don't even know if it's hyphenated.
Okay.
So,
So this will be on the agenda for
the 28th. So for the 28th is the application by Crocker Building of Springfield for, there's an attached narrative. Property owner, I think I want to confirm this. So the property owner is not, because Hilltown is just leasing it, so they're not the property owner. Improvements to the site, blah, blah, blah. Remove striping. So we can actually do the site visit for this when we do the other site visit, which would be helpful.
Sure.
And
Put
then as
that right
well.
there. I mean, why not?
So, okay, that's good. Does anyone need a copy of the NOI for the boardwalk? Not that I have one to give.
Was it?
Copy.
Is it in the commission's?
It was emailed.
Okay, then no, I don't need it.
Yeah, can you forward it?
I can if I didn't, I apologize. I
I
can.
didn't see it. I looked,
Okay.
I went looking at that one also.
Oh,
I had
sorry.
an old, some old data, but it wasn't the right one.
Okay. So I'll forward that. And then this notification of Pan Am right-of-way management in accordance with their yearly operational plan, which we'll just file. Anything else? Chris, if you're around Saturday, do you want to go take a look at the parcels that we
Yeah.
agreed to split? Because they're
Sure.
small.
As long as we can do it in the morning.
Yeah, we would do it right after, so
Okay.
that would work.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's no snow on the ground, that's easy, so we'll do that.
Yep, that sounds good to me.
Good.
I did see Walter this weekend, and he had some questions about his parcels that he was working on, and I just told him, email me, I'll meet with him, and we'll get it done, so.
Chris, do you think you'll be at our next meeting, as far as you know?
As far as I know.
Okay,
I should be there.
me too. So, has there been any interest in new members, Chris? Okay. All right, anything else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second the
Those in
motion.
favor? All those in favor?
Right.
Aye.
So moved. Meeting adjourned, 7 o'clock.